350 years ago, there were more Jews in one city in Jamaica than there were in the entire North American continent. Now, how can that be? Well, that's because this took place before there was the United States. This was the result of the expulsion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal in the late 1400s during the Spanish Inquisition. This has to do with Columbus, pirates, all kinds of interesting cultural things that are all part of Jamaica's history. In my research, I found out the influence that the Jews had in Jamaica, and even though their number dwindled from a peak of about 3,000 to down to current day is like 100, the fact is that there are tens of thousands of people walking around Jamaica with Jewish blood because of assimilation. So there were Jews ultimately buried all over the island, and there was a total in its peak of 21 cemeteries, and that was many, many, many years ago, and currently there are 13 active cemeteries. Why the shrink? Because of the weather conditions. And of course, if you play that forward, it's going to continue to shrink. Some of these graves date back to 1677. It's an amazing piece of history there. It screams out to be preserved. And as a Jew and as a person that loves Jamaica, I felt that was the intersection that created a calling of mine, that I decided somebody had to do something to stop the erosion of these cemeteries and the disintegration of them. And I decided that person at least needed to be me in part. At the Lucy Cemetery, it feels like hallowed ground here. It just has this very serene, crazy undertow vibe to it. They've done a really nice job of cleaning it up. Obviously, more work has to be done. Cemetery restoration, I've come to learn, is an issue all over the place, even in my hometown of Chicago. And you know, you can't really save the world here. You just have to kind of pick your spot and plant your flag. There are two important components of this work. The first one is to document who's buried where and perhaps tell their stories. The other aspect of this, which to me I decided was more important, was to clean up these cemetery sites and preserve them for the future. Because now you're talking dignity, restoring dignity to people's grave sites. And it's particularly noble, I think, because it's not like we have a personal connection to these people, but they're Jews like we are, and they just got born in a different place in a different time. And so I feel like it's incumbent upon every current member of the Jewish faith to at least have a little compassion and understanding for this issue. If Jamaica doesn't ring your bell, then there are other places, but Jamaica is my heart, and it's a place where you can measure the difference. The oldest cemeteries are in Kingston. What bothered me the most is that goats were being employed to cut the grass, and as sensible as that concept may sound, remember what comes with goats. Goat droppings. Not a great souvenir in a cemetery. Anyway, there's a lot of thought that needs to take place here and a lot of work that has to be done, but as far as I'm concerned, it's extremely worthwhile. If you understand the appeal to a project like this for me, and you're looking for something to do in terms of giving back, if you happen to have visited Jamaica like many do over and over again, and you want to give back in a different, more unique way, how about preserving an important history of our people and showing some respect to our ancestors? To me, that's what this is all about. There are actually two ways someone can get involved. If you're interested in helping out with the ongoing preservation work, there's an organization already in place called the Jamaican Jewish Cemetery Preservation Fund, the JJCPF. And they've done a really nice job of documenting these various grave sites around the island, and in collaboration with the University of Florida, they put together a database. There's another way to do it, and that's with me. Contact me and let's talk about how we want to save these cemeteries from extinction. But keep this in mind. When you're talking about cemetery preservation, this is not a year or 5 years or 10 years. This is a 50 to 100 year mission, because it needs to be set up in a trust so that there is money available to continue to pay people to keep these sites preserved, pristine, and holy, just out of a pure respect. Respect is a big word in Jamaica. Respect is a big word in the Jewish faith.